Last week on Pokemon Cooked League, Bruno's hit program sounded the bell for women's demise with Bronzong, which imprisoned Trick Room and then Trick Roomed itself. While the Landers dating simulator got ran over for the second week in a row by the Heat Train and Justice Shiftering Primeape. Will the Landers dating simulator be able to stop the skid, or will Bruno's hit program mark the beginning of the end for her? Welcome to the final match of week 5. We have Bruno's hit program versus the Landers dating simulator. I think the Suicune is going to be a pretty good Pokemon here. It's not going to be the most offensively threatening Pokemon here, but it definitely has the chance to, be very scary for things like the Landorus and like the chance to burn the Marshadow here. But I think it's just Mono Water is a pretty good defensive type here. And things like Icy Wind and Snarl, these support moves that can either get you speed control or mitigate damage, I think can be really, really annoying here. Especially for the Orlando Stadium Simulator. Especially because like things like the Ferrothorn and the Electros, yes, they do hit for super effectively, but they don't hit that hard. So Suicune being so bulky could probably even eat 2 of those hits at the right spot. And I think for the other side, I do think the Ferrothorn is going to be really annoying for the Bruno's hit program. The Ogerpon Heartflame is obviously a problem. Getting IV Cudgel sucks here. But other than that, Grass Steel is a really good defensive typing here. It's good against the Suicune. It's good against the Raikou. It's good against the Iron Boulder here. And then with all these with a bunch of these being physical attackers, even the ones that can hit it at least for okay damage besides the Ogerpon, because the Ogerpon can blow it up. The things like Iron Barbs plus potential Rocky Helmet, that's a lot of chip damage that can add up really quickly. So you have to be careful with the targeting here, or else you're gonna be careful. You might start knocking yourself out here. And I expect some lead with the Ferrothorn and the Landorus here. They like the later stages. Sailor likes to get up rocks early and often. That's just kind of a play pattern for them. And then the other side, I imagine the Suicune's going to be part of the lead here. And maybe, like, Grafaiai to start being annoying. I don't, like, Encore or, like, Knockoff here. Grafaiai's got a good set of tools that could be a real menace here. Okay, so we do bring out the two cats here, and this is pretty scary, honestly, on both sides. Obviously, the Landorus is afraid of a potential Ice Beam from the Suicune. The Raikou is pretty scared of a potential Ground type move from the Landorus, and then Prim is obviously scared of a T-Bolt here. So this is a pretty big turn 1 here. You could decide to not play this game at all if you are the Landorus Stadium Simulator. Something like the Ferrothorn is pretty safe here. Resists both water and electric. So that could be a pretty safe quick switch here. And like, what do you switch out or in for that? That's a good question. The thing is that Primarina is so especially bulky that it could definitely take at least one. It could take one T-Bolt, especially if it's something like Assault Fast. And then, do you feel any need to switch on the other side? Like, let's say, what's a good switch it for Raikou? The Flygon is immune to ground type attacks, but that doesn't really the Flygon's not really at a good spot even after it switches in. It's just kind of doing something, nothing great in particular. Flygon's just not that offensively threatening to either of these mons here. And damn, we get the double turn into the Raikou just horribly backfires, and the freest Calm Mind of all time got set up, and just losing absolutely nothing out of it. Me seeing U-turn makes me wonder if this Landorus is Choice Scarf. Choice Scarf U-turn, you get out of there, try to utilize type move. That's not that what That's not itself not a bad play. But now you got to get the Electros in here. The the Ferrothorn, I just don't think it hit hard enough on the Suicune before it starts doing too much damage. So I think the Electros is probably your best bet here, but you're still not OHKOing it with an electric type move probably. And let me just check something. Is Electros faster than Suicune? No. Suicune is probably faster than Electros. At least it outspeeds a decent amount naturally here. But definitely could see a choice to make sure the Electros outspeeds no speed Suicune here. But yeah, this with one Calm Mind and now like water and ice type coverage, this Suicune can get annoying pretty quickly. Even if it doesn't do that much damage, chance to just like get burns on the physical attackers is really rough here. And the Prim, I mean, you could flip turn again. I don't. Is that even great? I don't know how well this Prim is even lined up at this point. Like, is this a double switch? It could be. You should get like Electros and Ferrothorn in here. I don't think that's a bad call either. Okay, so we do the double pivot here. We do not bring in the Electros here. We actually bring in the Marshadow. I don't mind the Marshadow here. I do think you have to do a guessing game here on potential, like, because let's say for example the Suicune tries to burn the Marshadow with a Scald. Oh, you could Spectral Thief. You could Spectral Thief the boost. That's so true. I keep forgetting that's a move because we haven't seen it yet. That's true. I'm like, oh, yeah, I like doing that. Let's steal boosts. Let's double the Suicune and steal boosts, actually. I keep forgetting about that signature move because I don't think I've seen it actually proc once whenever I've seen this in any draft league ever. So yeah, you got to be worried about that. I mean, you could switch into Grafai, I guess, and then what? I mean, it is immune, and then it's the Flygon and the Ferrothorn get to do whatever they want. Maybe the Ferrothorn's setting up hazards. Maybe you're just maybe you're just doubling into the Suicune with like a grass type move, and then the Grafai actually gets in there pretty safely. Okay, so we Flygon was scale shot. That hit hard. Probably has to be loaded dice, I'd have to imagine here. And what makes that even bigger is that the Flygon is now going to be faster than the Marshadow here. So that's definitely you definitely got the exact right call here. Where now you have a chance to threaten the Marshadow before he can even steal the boost or do anything of that sort. And then we do get Rocks as the Ferrothorn. Rocks isn't terrible here. It was definitely better than that and then doubling. But Rocks is good against the Ogerpon. Does good decent damage against the Ogerpon. It's like neutral-ish against everything else. So the chip damage can definitely come into play here, but definitely not a world beater at the end. And as we can see, the does not want to get the stats stolen, so switching to Grafai right away here. Makes sense. We're clicking Rock Slide. That's evil. Not even going for the...
Yoink.
And we do get a Rock Slide flinch. And going for Rock Slide here, I don't know if I can support that. Because... And good call from the laner standing suitor, ignoring the scary Suicune and just going straight for the Flygon here. You know, predicting the switch in to the Grafai. That got you a kill here, which was pretty big here. But, you know, you click Rock Slide, Like, you had a kill and the Marshadow lined up, and, like, the Rock Slide, your best hope is, let's see, you did 4% to Ferrothorn, and you did get the flinch, but, like, you're doing that, you're basically trading off a potential kill for a 27% chance to stop the Ferrothorn from doing something this turn, which you did get. But yeah, it was able to navigate. I thought it was a very good call last turn by the Bruno's hit program into a not good call this turn, but the Landers Danielson has successfully scared the Suicune out of its boost, and now that the Marshadow, even if it's max speed, now it speeds a speed boosted Iron Boulder, which is pretty big. Because how do you deal with this Mon now? Well, you take a hit and you go 1-for-1 with it, but yeah. Let's see, I think this is you can't protect, unfortunately, because you can't protect because then you can get potential Encore and protect. That's a little scary. But you also, the Ferrothorn might get Encored this turn. So that's also a thing. Just like, how badly do you need this Marshadow here for the rest of the game? It's definitely a good Mon to have. Just has a Mon with just good offensive firepower that can outspeed things like the Ogre Pawn. But how, I feel like the only other way you're going to get it in back is like if other Mons die. But hey, switching, I mean, Landorus looks pretty safe here. So maybe you do want to, maybe you can have that luxury to get this in. Landorus with ground type can threaten anything, and there's no good switching for Landorus here. But maybe that means you don't want to switch in Landorus at all. You just want to keep it as healthy as possible because it could be such a big tool to clean up this game. And then this Ferrothorn, I don't know, try to get some chip that you can, I guess. You might be stun locked with the Encore. Maybe you should switch in the Ferrothorn for the Landorus here, actually, because I don't expect the Ferrothorn to get targeted, actually, this turn. So I think that's a good call, actually. And then, I don't know, you gotta find a way to get rid of this Marsh. It's tough. Like, do you protect Raikou and then try to like finish it off with like a knockoff or something? That's not that could be something. Oh, switcheroo. Black Sludge. Oh, it's Assault. And we do see the knockoff on the Expert Belt already coming into play here, being pretty useful. Just off the fact, and Black Sludge is a good. That's a pretty funny trick there. But unfortunately, since you tricked the Assault fast, you can only click attacks now. So, but yeah, now the Marshadow's on a clock, and because of the grading run to the Expert Belt, another Aura Sphere looks like it's not going to be able to KO the Ferrothorn here. So getting that extra item removal already looks like to come in clutch. And Body Press, it's going to look like it's going to be just not enough to KO the Grafaiai here. But getting it down low. And the Grafaiai is not even that scared to begin with anymore because it's bad offensive stats and it can't even click Disruption move. So you can just kind of let them on be. You can also even just target that slot safely because it can't protect. So that's if you want to go with that route. But I don't think you need to. I think you start targeting this Raikou here. Yeah, with the double, I think the Black Sludge is just going to barely not be enough. That is correct. And a Ghost type move and plus another move into the Raikou. There's no switch-ins. It gets rid of the Raikou, which is nice. Which paves the way for things like the Volcanion at the end game to start cleaning things up. So Volcanion looks very scary here for the rest of the game. So once you get rid of that, that's really good. And again, nothing really wants to switch into a double up here. So this is looking pretty good here for the Landorus Dating Simulator. We went for Shadow Steak instead of Spectral Thief, and I'm a little confused why. Because Grafaiai I don't think has any priority attacks. So And Spectral Thief just hits harder, and if you get Encored into Spectral Thief into the Raikou, that's completely fine. So, not really sure about that. And that's pretty annoying because the Raikou outspeeds everything. So now it gets another attack off, and you didn't KO it. So now you're down 4 versus 5. And what are the 2 mons you send out here? I think Electros is probably one of them, since it's just pretty good into Raikou. You could do, like... I mean, well, if the Landorus is Choice Scarf, you can do a... Yeah, if it's Choice Scarf Landorus, you can do Landorus Electros and just keep on clicking Earthquake. That's a pretty good call here. Like, you outspeed everything. And then you'll find a... I guess then you can switch in Volcanion after both the mons die on the Suicune here. And then the Electros could start targeting down the Suicune. Yeah. Okay. Seems like that's not our exact plan here. This could be Choice Scarf Stomping Tantrum, or we can just be saying Go My Rocks. Rock Slide Double Connect would KO here. These mons aren't that bulky. Yeah. Trying everything in our power to keep this Raikou alive, which I don't know how important keeping this Raikou alive is here. And man, I just really think maybe the Landorus just doesn't have Earthquake on it, which is definitely possible. Maybe it's like move is like Stomping Tantrum of choice for its ground type move, which makes sense. You know, you only have one ground immune mon on your side. But yeah, we're gonna probably just see the Suicune here, I'd have to imagine, yeah, to try to click that oh so scary Ice Beam. But I think I said this earlier. I do think, again, this is kind of tough because I mean, okay, I guess the Raikou being alive is actually pretty good here because now you have to choose between whether you want your Prim to get Thunderbolted or the Landorus to get Ice Beamed, and none of those are great. And again, you don't have anything faster. So that's rough. So like maybe the best play is like protect. It doesn't really work though. Do you live an Ice Beam from Suicune? If you live one Ice Beam, I would just take the trade and just say I click Rock Slide, I take out both these mons, I click Moonblast into Suicune, do some good damage, and figure out the rest later, then have the Landorus back out for some type of endgame cleanup. But if you don't survive an Ice Beam, this gets scary. Suicune's not that offensively threatening. I think you do, is my guess. You can also always, fish for the flinch. It's Scald. Oh, geez, no, you definitely don't live an Ice Burn. And you do get the burn. That's pretty big here. And again, this Landorus, which I thought would be so important for the end game and taking out the Iron Boulder and the Ogre Pond, is just not that scary anymore. And you do get this attack drop on the Suicune, which is pretty nice here. For the end game, you have the Volcanion, which is pretty good for the Ogre Pond. But then there's the Iron Boulder, which is good for the Volcanion. And you still have the Electros you still have Electros. So this is kind of rough here. You do take a decent amount of damage for get a decent amount of chip on the Ogre Pond by just it existing. And it's the call just to click Rock Slide and Protect with Prim here if this is not what's it called? If this is not, if you can switch your moves, I guess. Get a bit of chip, get an extra 20, like 25, 30%. Let the Landorus faint. And then have something to clean up the end game. Maybe Electros gets sent out next, because I do want the Volcanion to be healthy. This is a really close end game here. We do get a Rock Slide Mish. The Rock Slide does do around 30, which was my guess. Woodhammer does connect, and that's just going to KO. A lot of recoil, though. Oh, and because we click Snarl, the what's it called doesn't after the burn, the Lander stays alive, which is pretty big here. It means the Ogerpon has to protect it, and then it's just gonna come down to a 2v2 with Electros Canyon versus Iron Boulder in a really weak Ogerpon. This may also come down to whether this gets a burn or this gets burned by Scald or not. And thanks to that special attack decrease, the Scald isn't nearly as threatening if it doesn't get to burn. Yeah, the spiky shield. He's gonna have to force the... Are we gonna get the burn? No. Thunderbolt does KO. Alright. It's gonna be close. It's booster attack. Oh, the Mighty Cleave is gonna come up so big here. I think just clicking Mighty Cleave, just clicking attacks is just gonna do it here. And man, unless I'm crazy and this is some type of like rock resist berry, don't think it will be. Or you can get like a Thunderbolt Para or something crazy like that. Because again, you can't protect in front of Mighty Cleave. Boom. Woodhammer. Oh, geez, that does so much. Flamethrower? Okay, well, Flamethrower's not going to do it. And man, this was really, really close. And what was the turn that I felt like I kind of got slip away for the Lander Staging Simulator? Oh, I think it was clicking Shadow Sneak. You had a KO on the Raikou. That was pretty big. It made it so that like you had to be in an awkward scenario on how to kill the Raikou. You had a choice. You had to send in your Landorus earlier than you wanted to. Had to lock into a suboptimal move. Have to eat a Scald. But yeah, that Scald Bird, man. If the Scald Burn doesn't happen, the extra chip from a Rock Slide also gets there. So definitely very easily could have gone the other way on something just like that. So, but that's going to do it for me. Congrats to Bruno's HIIT program, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.